welcome to this live session. How is everyone doing this beautiful evening? I'm sorry we had some network shortfalls, and but good thing we are here now. How are you doing this beautiful evening? Um, Welcome to the Resourceful Child series, where we will be talking about teaching accountability early. That is what we are looking at today. We have been on the series for 5 episodes, and this is the 6th episode. Today's episode, we will be looking at why it is important, or why we should teach our children to be accountable as early as possible. Dear parents, accountability is one of the most powerful life tools that we can give our children, because it would help them transform knowledge into character. When we teach our children accountability, we help our children transform knowledge into character. What they know, they are able to apply in their life, and that now begins to help build their character. My name is Maribeth Chima, and I am the founder of the Parenting Through Mentorship Academy and the proud matron of the Children's Mastermind Circle, where we raise children to be accountable. At the Mastermind Circle, we understand that children are not too young to be stretched. We understand that children are not too young to understand that they are the chief pilots of their lives. So what we do is we bring children to that knowledge, we bring children to self-awareness, and we hold them accountable, right? We give them responsibilities, or help them see their responsibilities and the role that they play in their own lives. And so we hold them accountable by the standards that we have shown them and what we have learned, or what we have taught them. Today, we are going to be looking a little deeper into accountability and why it is important for every child. As I said, the knowledge of accountability will help to build character in the children. When kids are made to be responsible for their choices, for their results, and for the outcomes, for the outcomes of their choices or their results, when we make them become accountable for those choices that they make and for the outcomes of those choices, we are teaching them to be responsible. Now, these children begin to see themselves as contributors and not just consumers. When we give children responsibilities in our homes, we let them know that you can also contribute to the outcome of what we have in this home. You can also contribute to the general well-being of everyone in the family. You can contribute to the success of our family. You can contribute to the outcomes that we have as a collective people in our home, in the classroom, in a school. When we get children to this point, what we have done is we have made them understand that they are important, that they are relevant, that they are valuable, and that they are contributors. When children are brought to this realization, then they don't see themselves as mere consumers. They don't see themselves as people who are irrelevant or people who are just supposed to be bystanders. They begin to see themselves bystanders. They begin to see themselves as people who can contribute to the general well-being of everyone. Do you know how empowering that can be to your young child? Do you know how even your 5 or 4, even your 4-year-olds can feel when they know that they've been able to do something that was helpful to mommy? If you don't know it, try it. Send your 4-year-old to make you cocoa, right? Just send them to do something for you that can save a situation at the time. I am hungry, I'm thirsty, I'm feeling, whatever it is that you're going through at the time. Make your young child go and fix you something. It could be as simple as just going to fix you cocoa. However they make it, when they come back, appreciate them, and you will see the next time you send them to do this, they are so eager, because everybody wants to feel relevant. Everybody wants to feel seen. I shared this yesterday or the other day, day before yesterday, I think, when I was talking, about children being seen, heard, and valued in the family system or wherever they find themselves, right? And I said, when you give children attention, when you acknowledge their presence, it makes them feel worthy. And that's what we want to do as parents. So if you send your child off on an errand, right, and let them know that they are solving a problem for you, they come back and you show appreciation. I promise you, it helps the child see themselves as more than just another being in the house. They begin to think of themselves as people who are valuable. And that's what you want to do to help these children develop confidence. Yes, if we're going to raise children who are confident, if we're going to raise children who feel enough, if we're going to raise children who feel valuable, then we need to start as early as possible to make them feel that there is something that they can bring to the table, as we like to say in this part of the world. So it's not just women that should bring something to the table. Do you know your child can learn that they can also bring something to the table? Oh, daddy does this, daddy's working so hard, mom is working so hard. You can work so hard also and contribute something. And so everybody is a contributor, and everybody is important, and everybody's effort is relevant in the family. Very, very key. All right, very key. Now, in the book of Galatians, in I can't remember what chapter in Galatians, he actually says something like each one should test their own actions, then they can take pride in themselves, right? Without comparing themselves to someone else. Each one should test their own actions, then they can take pride in themselves without comparing themselves to someone else. So that's it. When we do the things that we can do, when we allow ourselves contribute to the community, contribute to the system, then we can see what we are capable of. Then we can see and take pride in our contributions. And so we do not compare ourselves with other people. This is a call for us as adults, and it is a call that we can actually bring our children to start understanding as early as possible. And that's what accountability does to the child. What is accountability in the first place? Accountability is when you have been given a responsibility, or you understand that this is a responsibility that has been given to you, or a responsibility that you have decided to take on. Now, being asked or being asked or being followed up to see that you actually deliver on that promise, being followed up and being requested to show up, is being accountable. So when someone is there to ensure that everything that you have said you would do, everything that you have said you will contribute, everything that has become your responsibility, someone is there to ensure that you are keeping that promise, then we say that there is accountability. A lot of the times in this part of the world, the reason we see our society the way it is, the reason we see the amount of decay that we have, is because we do not have an accountability system. Nobody is holding anybody accountable. So people can do as they like, go as they like. In fact, everything remains at the feet of the level of your moral standards. So if you find someone without a moral standard, the person can actually go about, get a contract, get a job they need to do, have a responsibility in an organization, and the person doesn't show up for it, or the person does a shoddy job of it, and no one is asking them questions, because we do not have a culture of accountability. And it is because there is no culture of accountability that people can get away with not showing up or not doing what it is that they have been asked to do, or what they have been paid to do, or what they have taken upon themselves to do, because of a lack of accountability. You do not want to raise children like that in this 21st century. Okay, if you want to set your child apart, you want to give your child that unfair advantage, you want your child to be excellent, then you must create a system in your home and collaborate with systems that will hold your child accountable. Very important. And this accountability doesn't have to wait until they are teenagers. Accountability doesn't have to wait sorry, doesn't have to wait until they are young adults. Accountability can start right from the cradle, as young as possible. Let children become accountable at the level where they are at. Your 1 year old can be accountable by simply giving them a responsibility to take their plate to the kitchen after they are done eating. They can be accountable by making sure or giving them the responsibility to clear their toys after they are done playing. Now the child knows that if he finishes playing and the toy is not returned to where it belongs, then he has done something wrong. Meaning, I expect you to return the toys where it's meant to be. Now, children should know, the child should know that this is your responsibility, and every time that you do not do it, or every time you have not done it, you have fallen short of that responsibility. And I'm going to hold you accountable by whatever it is. I mean, and there will be consequences, right? There will be consequences, or this is what your outcome can lead to. Let them understand the outcomes, or what the outcomes of their lack of accountability can lead to. Let them see it, let them know it, let them recognize it. Okay. So the other time we came up with a system in our home. We realized that our children, I can see from here, sorry, my daughter is trying to show me something. Sorry, just give me a second. Yes. So, sorry, as I was saying, pick that, please. All right. All right. So, sorry, I have a cold. Okay. Sorry about that. Right. So we realized that our children, I mean, these are children that have had routines for the longest, for the longest time, right? Our daughter, for instance, has always had routines from the beginning, from when she was born, right? But at some point, just like adults, these children will relax, they will lose track, they will fall short. It is okay, it happens, right? But what structure have you put in place? What system do you have in place to hold them accountable? So we realized that the children were beginning to, get late to school, and it wasn't a one off. It was becoming really regular. So we went back and we readdressed, right? We readdressed the consequences, right? And natural, we try as much as possible in our home to use natural consequences. We'll be talking about that tomorrow, right? Natural consequences, and all of that. So we try to use natural consequences as much as possible. So we sat down with them and we said to them, something, this is what it is. Your school is barely 5-6 minutes away from home if we have to drive. It's a 1.5 kilometer journey to your school. So you can get to school in 12 to 15 minutes. If you walk, they actually get to school in 12 to 15 minutes when you walk to school. Now we understand that it is the morning. Yes, we are here. It's possible to drive you to school and keep it that simple, right? It's possible, and daddy is willing to do it, right? So daddy's going to drop you in school at 7 p.m. Sorry, 7 a.m. Now daddy's going to be in his car at 7 a.m., right? Making sure everything is okay with the car and all of that. So you have a 10 minutes grace. You have a 10 minutes grace that, he's trying to put things together, that even if you are late, you can run and still catch up. So at 7:10. However, if at 7:10, no one is in the car or anyone is not in the car, daddy will simply drive with whoever is in the car, and he will drop them off at school. And if there's no one, he will just take his car keys, come back home and chill. And it's okay. That's what we said to them. Now, at 7:20, or between 7:10 and 7:20, we expect that whatever it is that is causing the delay, you would have sorted yourself out, and then you can just hit the road and move, meaning you will be in school, give and take, at 7:35, which is just very brilliant. Now, if at 7:20 you don't get out on your own, We will give you another 10 minutes grace. And at 7:30, you must, like, we will practically stand at the door and make sure that you go out. Now, at that point, it is okay. You can go out with anything, as in however it is that you are. If you have not packed your food, it's okay. If you have packed just one meal, because the children will usually pack lunch and then a snack. If you have packed just lunch, you are fine. If you have packed just a snack, you are good. Whatever it is, you will go as it is, because that is the choice that you have made for that day. So we decided that. And I promise you, there has been many days, 95% of the time, where the kids got into the car and daddy dropped them off in school. There have been times where they had to just say, oh, okay, time to go, big hug, mommy, kiss, kiss, and then, give them bye, daddy, and then they go off, happily knowing that this is the choice that they made, right? And they go. And there has been times, a few, very few, one or two times, where I was practically standing at the door and saying, okay, 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 time to go, move, 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 move. And they had to rush out, and all of that. Now, these are natural consequences. We've talked about it, and I mean, it's not a big deal. It's a 15-minute walk. Why not, if not? Right? So basically, these are the things. Now, if children understand, that's why it's important that they understand, right? That they understand that this is a responsibility. It's important that they understand their responsibility before these consequences, or before you give out these consequences. So now they know the possible outcomes of the choices that they are making. So it's now up to you what choice you choose to make. And so you will get whatever is the result or is the outcome of the choice that you make. Very important. If we don't teach these children, or if we don't teach our children to be conscious of the choices that they make and the consequences of those choices, if we don't teach them right at home, they will go out and the world will the world will throw them in confusion, because we did not raise them for the reality of the world. Would you rather your child goes out to go and struggle in a world that really doesn't care about them or care about what happens to them? Or you would rather they learned these lessons gradually at home, so by the time they are stepping out into the world, they know what they are up against? Very important, all right? Very important. So now let's look at some of the ways, or some of the things that need to be done, right, for our children to understand accountability, all right, to teach them accountability. Number one, we need to help them understand that accountability starts with ownership. You need to be able to own your mistakes. You need to be able to own your responsibility. You need to be able to own when you go wrong, your failures. So when children make mistakes, you need to be, parents, we need to pay attention to your child and how your child responds when they make mistakes, or when they make a mess, basically, right? Pay attention to see, does your child own their mistake, or your child is that one that is constantly trying to look for someone else to throw under the bus every time they've made a mistake? You will see how a child will make a mistake and the child will say, it's because you did not wake me. The child is late, and then the child turns and says, nobody woke me. Now that child is not taking responsibility. It's different if the child says something like, oh, I slept too deep. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize my alarm was ringing. The child is taking responsibility. It is me. It is I. Okay. So we need to teach them, first of all, to own it. Okay, you need to own it. You need to own that responsibility. I am sorry, I was meant to make dinner, but I got carried away while I was doing my homework and I started late, and that's why food is late. Take responsibility. It's not nobody helps me, I'm just here cooking it all by myself and all of that. You are not taking responsibility. So it's important that you pay attention. And it starts from your little ones, for your very little ones, right? You are supposed to clean up the living room after you are done playing with your toys. And the toys are there, and you are like, why are the toys here? What's going on? Auntie Agnes did not help me. Yeah, Auntie Agnes did not tell me. Who is supposed to tell you? Right? I remember back then when I was actively in the classroom, how you would see a child. I mean, I'm sitting down there and I'm noticing that a child is wearing two different pair of socks. And I'm like, come, why are you wearing two different socks? My nanny did not. You will hear things like that. I'm talking about 8, 9 year olds at the time. My nanny did not wash my socks. You hear things like that. Or you actually hear a child, or you see a child, open their lunchbox to have lunch, and the child would just get irritated, you know, and speak out in irritation. Oh my God, I did not want rice. Or I did not want beans. Like the child didn't even have an idea what was packed in his lunchbox. So he's sitting down here upset or angry at some other person for not giving him what he wants. So when this is the case, you realize we are raising these children not to take responsibility. They do not even own it. They do not even know that it is their responsibility. Now, if we raise children who are accountable, we will raise children who have integrity. Children who are raised with accountability grow up to be people who are grow up to be people who are they grow up to be people who, of course, have accountability, and of course, what do you call it? What did I just say right now? They grow up. Chineke me, what's going on here? So they are accountable, and of course they grow up to be people who have integrity. Integrity was the word. All right, so they grow up with integrity. But if we don't do that, then we will be raising people without integrity. We will be raising people. So that's why you go to an office and you see people who never take responsibility for what they are supposed to do. You go to an office, you see people who never show up when they are supposed to show up. We go to offices, we see people who do not take responsibility, as a matter of fact. So you won't have integrity. You lie, because at every point you will not say, oh, it is me. Okay, you're constantly looking for someone else to put it on. That's because you have not been taught, or you have not learned, you don't have that skill, right? Accountability as a skill was not taught to you, or you didn't learn it, and so you're unable to be accountable. All right, number two, accountability has to be modeled. For you to teach accountability, you must model accountability. So as a parent, you should have responsibility. Of course you have responsibilities, so you should allow your children hold you accountable when you are not meeting up to, you are also not meeting up, to a standard, or to, a responsibility that is meant to be yours. Now give your children the power to hold you accountable. When they hold you accountable, then they do not get evasive, they do not get offended, they do not get angry when you hold them accountable too, because now accountability becomes normal. Accountability becomes a system that they know is a standard in your home. You can hold mommy accountable, you can hold daddy accountable, we can hold each other accountable. Very important if you are going to raise children who are accountable indeed. Number three, you need to use responsibility as a teaching tool. I already said that. Let the children know that this particularly is your responsibility. So I say to parents, why should any child in any home not, I hope Instagram is okay, right? Why should any child in any home wake up in the morning without a sense of accountability? It is wrong. It's a wrong teaching. It's a wrong practice altogether. Let your children wake up, right, with a sense of accountability, knowing that this particular thing is my responsibility. And if I don't do it, no one else is going to do it. That's how much your child should feel relevant. That's how much your child should be made to feel relevant. Let the child know that this thing is my duty. And if I do not do it, I remember when our daughter was only about 2 going on 3, between 2 and 3. As soon as she was able to, in fact, we give our children responsibility. As soon as you are able to stand on your feet on your own and move on your own, the moment you can move on your own, you can grab things, you will get a responsibility. So at the time our daughter was about 2, we turned off the hot part of the dispenser, and then I started using a few bottles for them to fill up, as water. So I would say to her, you haven't filled those bottles today. It means that daddy is not going to have cold water to drink today. At the time, daddy was the one who drank a lot of cold water. So it simply means that daddy will come back, and he would want to drink cold water and there will be none. Just because you did not. So there are times I look at him like, oh, we need cold water and there is none here. It's straight. I mean, straight. We know who is responsible. And now you didn't put cold water in the fridge, and now we don't have any cold water. And then she goes, I'm sorry. And then she gets the bottle and she begins to fill the water. Now, another thing you want to do is you want to create a routine around it. That's where you are creating a standard. All right? That's where you are creating a structure. Create structure around it, right? So the child knows that this is the time to fill the bottles. So at that particular time, for young children, rather than time, you want to even use events. Okay, rather than time, you want to use events. Events are easier for young children to understand and avoid micromanaging. So for instance, if you put something like after school, maybe your child goes to school, your 2-year-old, your 3-year-old goes to school, and there's something like after school, the first thing you're supposed to do, or after school, you take your bag and hang it in a particular place. Now, the thing that will help the child remember all the time to hang the bag is that it is done when I get home after school. You see that now it is an event. Like after I get home, then I take my bag and I hang it in the designated place. After, not at 2 o'clock. Then after I have my bath, I would eat lunch or I would eat a snack. Now there is an event. After your bath, then you eat and there's a snack. After your snack, then you rest for, do you understand? After your snack, then you rest. Of course, there will be an adult or someone in the house to, support the child, and all of that. And then the child knows that after they rest, maybe it's a nap, after they've had a nap, and all of that. After they have had the nap, then they would do their homework. So you see that. So it's event after event. So with younger children, you don't do at 4 o'clock, at 5 o'clock, you do events. So that way the child knows what event is coming next, after what event. After homework, then you go outdoor to play. So the child knows after homework, and you see the child turn to you and say, I'm done with my homework. Can I go outside and play now? Because the child knows that this is the event that follows this other event. So that way the child can predict, the child's routine is predictable and the child knows what should come per time. So that way the child begins to take responsibility, right, for their actions, because now they do not necessarily need anyone to tell them what to do, what they have to do. They know what comes first, what comes second, third, and all of that. So very important, right, that you use responsibility to teach them. Okay, use responsibility as a tool to hold them accountable. Right. The next one is you want to ensure that your children learn how to reflect so that you can use reflection in place of blame. So that you can use reflection instead of blame. The culture that we have in this part of the world, or what we do a lot of times, is when you make mistakes or when you do wrong, you are blamed, you are shamed, you are criticized, you are scolded, So every time children make mistake, they just wait for it, or they know that they're going to get into trouble. Now, that is what turns our children into liars a lot of the time. That's why children lie a lot. That's why, you will find many children lying. That's why you will find many children covering something that they have done, right? And then, of course, if you find out, they will try to lie about it. So one of the biggest reasons why your child will not take responsibility for their actions is because they foresee getting into trouble. And that's one of the easiest way to get children to lack integrity. So because of the fear, so most of it is fear rather than, any other thing. It's fear. So it's a fear of what you would do to them. I was telling my children today. So our daughter broke my favorite plates. Our daughter broke my favorite plates today, right? I mean, I don't know. I was in inside, and she had gone to the kitchen. She was trying to clean, do dishes, and all of that. And then she came. You could see how sorry she was, So she came really feeling really sorry, and she's like, "Mommy, and all that." So I mean, I told her it's okay, it's a plate, but you should be more careful, and all that. So I listened to her. I was doing this. I'm like, it's okay. Just be more careful. It's a plate. You will be fine, And she goes. Now I was going out with my son much later in the day, and his shoes, his Crocs had given way. So he was really upset that his sister was the one that caught him, was trying to kick him the other day. I mean, yesterday they were playing or something like that. And then that's why the thing, gave way. And he was getting really upset about it. After a few minutes of trying to say, it's okay now, it's not that hard. It's just Crocs that got spoiled. He was there still getting upset. I'm like, it's not like that now. It's not like that. So, I started telling him, how it's not a big, I mean, it's not a big deal. Yes, it could have been your sister, but it's your Crocs. Take responsibility. I mean, the Crocs is probably old enough and it gave way. So, but you don't have to, go on and on like that. So I don't know what led to what. I started telling him how, while we were growing up, right? Okay, he was saying something like, oh, the next thing now, I and daddy will say that he's not careful with his things. I'm like, no, it's not, that's not the thing. There's no relation here. The only time that we say you're not taking care of your things is when we see you throw your things around, or we see you not organizing your stuff, or we see you putting your things in a way that could lead to damage. It's not when mistakes happen. Get it right, right? Basically. And there are people who their parents, beat them. Their parents actually get upset with them and all of that when they go wrong. Then I told him, usually it's trauma. Because when we were growing up, you went out to play and you got injured. You came back home and you got beaten for getting injured playing outside. Like, you actually went out and decided you wanted to get injured. So these are the things. You actually get punished. So a lot of times people will get injured, they will have injuries, and they won't say peep about it. They will say nothing about it because you didn't want to get, you didn't want to get whooped for, I mean, a pain that you're going through. There's that story about the child who got beaten. I don't know how real or how true it is, but there's that story about a child who got beaten by a dog at a neighbor's house or something like that, and then came home and didn't say anything to their parents because, of course, he knew that he was going to be in for, I mean, it was going to be in for trouble and all of that. And how eventually they took the child to the hospital, and the parents, they took the child to the hospital, and when the doctor examined the wound or something like that. I may not tell the story exactly the way it is, but it was something like that. Now, when the doctor examined the wound, he came, I mean, he was like, this was so, 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 and so, and a dog bites and all that, and told the parents to quiz the child, to see what happened. That even at that point, when the child eventually said, this is what happened, the father was angry and yelling at him, and, that kind of was going to give him that same consequence. So, it was glaring why the child didn't say in the first place what happened to him, right? The conclusion of the story was that the child actually, got rabies and passed on and all that. So as I said, I don't know whether it's a true story, but it's a perfect example of what we're talking about. When children are made to be afraid of their mistakes, when the consequence every time has to be pain and all of that, then you don't get we miss the point altogether. Consequences do not need to be hurtful and painful. They just need to be natural. Let the consequences be as natural as it gets. You pour water on the floor. I'm sorry, Mama. I'm sorry. It's okay. You are sorry. I know that you're sorry. So what's next? You grab a mop and mop it. It's as simple as that. What is I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry? Then you want to walk off and go and watch TV? No, I'm sorry. What's the next thing to be done? You clear it up. So it's the same thing with everything. It's the same thing with everything. This is the action, or this is the choice that you have made. Boom. What's the next thing that comes to it? Naturally, let's go for what comes with it next. Okay, finally, we are going to, I mean, the last one we're looking at is connect their responsibility to purpose. Connect it to purpose, right? So in our home, when our children do certain things, the first thing we do is we point them to our values. So I would send you to where our family values is sitting, somewhere in the kitchen, where we all see it. We all go to the kitchen. Then I go and tell you to go and look at the family values and see which of them you are portraying right now with this action. They go, they look at it and all of that, and then they come back and it doesn't look like us. Does it look like us? No, it doesn't look like us. Now I want you to look at yourself and what your assignment is. Does it look like your assignment? What part of your assignment, what part of your purpose is this choice fulfilling right now? What part of your purpose is this choice feeding right now? If it's not feeding any part of your purpose, then it has no business in your life, right? So we need to start allowing our children think from, I mean, along those lines, especially if the children are now young children, preteens, and then teenagers. Let them always tie. So which part of your purpose is this feeding right now? If it's not feeding any part of your purpose, then you are wasting your time. Let's stop making our children think that our lives, there's this aspect of our life that is, or this time in our life that is supposed to be a complete useless time where we're supposed to do anything and anyhow we like in the name of enjoying your childhood. Where did we even get that from? Right? People will say, I saw a picture, a video of a celebrity, in inappropriate, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, right? But anyway, it's not my, anyway, in just out there in a very inappropriate way. And people were saying in the comment section, oh, the person is young, let them enjoy their life. Where did we get it that, being young means doing things that are totally out of line of who you are? Like spending 3, 4, 5 years of your life doing nothing that is in connection with your purpose, doing nothing that is in connection with anything sensible. Now, after those 5 years, then you now come and then jump and then get to start building your life at some point. That's why the world is raising people who are breaking grounds in all areas. Why? I mean, other part of the world, young people are creating and innovating and doing amazing things. We are here doing nothing because we are raising children to tell them that some 5, 6, 7 years of your life should be spent doing nothing sensible, right? Simply because that's what it takes to enjoy your life as a young person. It's some of these things are wrong. The mindset is wrong, and we need to start, correcting them, right now. All right, so that's about it. So let's look at what, accountability looks like to your child, or should look like to your child. Right now, a child being accountable for a child looks like this. I have something that I need to do. I need to make time to do it. Now, understand with me that I can't do it right now, but I can do it later. So sometimes it's not about when we want it as parents, when we want it now. Sometimes you want to have a conversation with the child and see or find out when the best time is for the child. So that's another reason why, as parents, we should be understanding when our children have their high energy. Try to identify. I was saying this to the parents in the mastermind circle. Identify the time. Oh, it was the children themselves. I was even saying it too. Identify the time that your energy is up. That is the time for you to do tasks that require critical thinking, right? And it require you to solve problems. So find that time. So sometimes these children know the time. They know the time for those kind of activity. You want to activities. So as a parent, you want to pay attention to them so that you know the time that is best for them to do certain kind of activities. When you allow them, sometimes it's not every time that you banter and knock heads with children. What time is the best time for you? You want to do your chore. Can you pick the best time for your chore? You want to do it before school? You want to do it after you come back from school? Or you want to do it when you're done with your homework? Sometimes look at these things and allow them. It makes them powerful. It makes them take responsibility. And of course, it makes them feel like contributors and not just people who are dragged around and consumers by and large. All right. Now, the child also, accountability also looks this way to your child. I want to be trusted. That's what accountability, being accountable to the child. That's how the child wants you to see, him and being accountable. I want to be trusted. So let me do it, as I said, let me do it, at the time, and at the time that I do it best. So as a parent, now it's your responsibility to now find that time, and ensure or help the child create a structure around it so that the child addresses it at that time, all the time. Try to be a bit flexible with the children, okay? And then trust their judgments. A lot of the times I mean, a lot of the things that I do, I ask my children for their opinions, right? For every book that I write, every book cover, every storyline, everything, my children have a huge input. I would always ask them. I will always ask them. I've had to change stories, I've had to change titles, I've had to drop things simply because my children said this is not good enough. It doesn't appeal to it. And because I've done this with them over and over again, they are so good, they're so good and do not second guess themselves when it comes to the choices that they make and all of that. Especially my 10-year-old daughter. She will say it as it is, straightforward. I was telling our son the other day, there's not a single time you have asked our daughter for an opinion that she will say, anyone works, or I don't know. No, my daughter doesn't ever not know. She doesn't ever not know. She always has, an opinion, provided you ask for it. She will always. Sometimes she will say to you, "Give me a minute to think about it. Give me some time to think about it." But she will always come with a stand. I mean, with a perspective, and it's always amazing. I dare say. Right, even our son that usually will be like, oh, he's learned to always, and his own opinions and his own insight are usually very deep. So I've learned to respect my children and trust, and that's what the child wants. The child says to you, I mean, I want to be trusted. All right, the child is like, I want to know and understand what I did wrong rather than being blamed. A lot of the times we blame them, we scold them and all that. They don't know. They don't know exactly what they've done wrong. Yes, it's all around their head. You are all over the place, but as far as putting a finger on it, this is what I did, or this is how I could do it differently and all that, they don't know. Sometimes they don't know. A lot of times all that shouting takes precedence and then the lessons is lost in all of it. So the child wants you to help them understand rather than blame them for the things that they do not know. Accountability also looks to your child this way. I need someone to prompt me. I need someone to remind me. They are young children. There is no need setting them up for failure. It's okay to remind them. It's okay to prompt them. It's okay to give them prompts, right? Because it's okay to help them win. It's okay to help them succeed rather than set them to for failure. You hear parents say things like, hey, I'm just waiting to see that he doesn't do that thing today. I'm not saying anything. I'm just waiting for him not to do it. Like we set trap, waiting to, to clamp down on the children. No. That's what accountability looks to the child. The child is saying silently, I need someone to prompt me sometimes. So it's okay. It's okay to remind them. Repetition, they say, is the mother of all learning. It's okay to keep repeating. It's all right. Parenting is patience. All right. Then lastly, when adults keep their word, when adults keep their part of their promise, when adults are responsible or take responsibility for their action, you teach the child to also take responsibility. So for the child, when you take responsibility, it helps me take responsibility too. That is what accountability looks like to your child. When you take responsibility, When I see you, I hear you on the phone, say to your boss, I'm sorry, I'm running late today. Okay, I will be in the next 10 minutes because I'm leaving right now. And they see you grab your key and move. Then you are taking responsibility and you're teaching them to take responsibility. But when they hear you say, ah, sir, I'm sorry, my daughter is sick, nobody is sick. Nobody's sick. I'm unable to come because my daughter is sick. Please, no, you are not taking responsibility. And then tomorrow you will say the child lied. Lie what? You, the child learned from the chief of lies. You. Okay, so these are some of the things. And this is what we do with the children in the mastermind circle, right? We teach, in fact, accountability is our core. Accountability is our core. So we teach these children, we teach them, we train them, we help them learn to set goals. And then, because we know the goals that they have set, right, we work with them to create plans for those goals. And because we are aware, we are on the journey together, we're able to hold them accountable. We hold them accountable to those standards that we have agreed together. We hold them accountable to those goals that they have set by themselves. We send them prompts, we send them reminders, we walk that journey with them all the way, right? And this is how we are building accountability in this 5 to 10 year olds that we have in the mastermind circle. Dear parents, the mastermind circle registration into our full year cohorts ends on the 31st of October in 3 days' time. If your child, you have a 5 to 10 year old and they are not in the mastermind circle, I promise you, you are wrong. See, the mastermind circle is a solid foundation. I said to parents, if your child is young, you're 5, you're 6 year old, the mastermind circle is where you want to have them, because the system in the mastermind circle is tailored completely, fully, to attend to these children. It's not enough that we have just 5 to 10 year olds. We still separate the 8 year olds to 10 year olds. You put them differently from the 5 to 7 year olds, because we understand that this thing has got levels, and children work, I mean, accountability and understand, I mean, first of all, they have to learn in age appropriate way. First of all, they have to be accountable for what it is at their level that they can make sense of. And so we begin to raise the bar as they grow older. So the mastermind circle is a solid foundation ground. That's what I can say. I can hit my chest any day, anytime, and tell you it's the right place for your child to start, to begin, because it's such a solid accountability and a solid foundation ground for children, especially in this phase just after toddlerhood. You want them in the mastermind circle. All right. So we have the information right on your screen right now. You will see it there if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. You will see the information right there that you can use to join us right away. All right. You can also send us a text message on our line. It's right there on your screen also. 0813062156. Even on Instagram, you can send us a DM, or you can simply just send us a message on the same phone number. The phone number is even faster for us to attend to. All right, you can ask all your questions, get all your inquiries done, right? But whatever you do, get the child on board, because the mastermind circle is that accountability and foundation ground that you don't know that your child needs yet, but your child does need it. Thank you again for joining me. I will see you tomorrow, where we bring episode 7 of the Resourceful Child series to you. My name is Maribel Chima, and yes, I am the proud matron and the lead coach of the Mastermind Circle. You want to be a part of what we do in this circle. Oh, we just got our journal. Oh, where's our journal? Oh, it's so far from me. I can't get it right now. Sorry. So we have our journal. You want to grab a copy of that journal, whether or not your child is in the Mastermind Circle. It's such a beautiful tool to help your children begin to walk their journey and follow the progress of that journey. Thank you again, parents. Have a beautiful rest of the evening.